looked amazing. But lucky for us, we have our first game here, Meowpork versus Inquisition on Tomb of the Spider Queen. My favorite map. I'm ready to go.
That's right. So a bit of a map background check as well. The first map ban from the side of Meowpork will be the Battlefield of Eternity. The Inquisition ban went ahead to ban the Cursed Hollow. So the first map pick will be the Tomb of the Spider Queen. The second game will be going to the Sky Temple, picked by Inquisition. And if this ever went to the third game, it will go to the Braxis Holdout.
All right, not wanting to deal with Gul'dan, who, we've seen this banned out against Meowpork before. That was actually banned out by Resurgence against Meowpork during our first set. Obviously, Meowpork known for playing Gul'dan, but Gul'dan on Tomb of the Spider Queen, great hero for this, good wave clear, and not wanting to deal with Meowpork's Gul'dan.
That's right. I mean, if we've seen a bit of a history on the side of Meowpork, they do run a very powerful Gul'dan. And especially when coupled with heroes such as Oriole, and they also play Morales as well, there is a lot of damage that can be done, especially during the team fights. So now the question comes, in the second hero to be banned here, it's a bit of a choice here. You can go for the normal Tacita. We've seen basically this entire weekend, Tacita bans almost always second ban. So will they be following onto this trend? But it looks like they're hovering on Vala here.
I really feel like they're wondering, do we let Vala through? Because yesterday, Inquisition in 2 out of their 3 games against Geishas ran Lili, and you tend to go blind build with Lili, so maybe they were contemplating it. I'm curious if they still feel as confident running that hero against Inquisition, but sometimes it can be draft dependent as we are ready for our first picks of the game.
That's right. So, of course, a pick in the Tomb of the Spider Queen, you generally would want to go for hero with very strong CC. That can basically get rid of the spiders as fast as possible, go for the gems. But for the first pick, in this kind of map, you want to go for a pretty neutral hero here. You wouldn't want to get something that can be easily hard countered. We saw Tracer being picked just now in the previous game. For example, you wouldn't want to instantly pick up a Tracer here. Like this, for example.
Whoever gets the Malfurion, I'm curious if the other team's going to make a play on Lucio. Lucio, this is probably, I think, his most popular battleground when it comes to competitive play. So that tends to be the thing, and then we've kind of seen this shift towards the double support. When we have seen that, which is where Lili kind of came into play yesterday, we've seen the Ariel. So Malfurion being picked up. If Lucio isn't here, I would anticipate Inquisition.
Wow, that was fast. A very fast response. So Tacita and Greymane.
You let Tacita through. Greymane is a great hero to benefit from those Tacita shields. So we'll see how aggressive Greymane wants to be. It also allows you, Tacita actually has kind of sneaky good wave clear, not top tier, but he definitely contributes a lot. And then Greymane, depending on if he goes cocktail build, post 7, really starts to spike up as well, so can contribute. So good all-around heroes, good team fighting capabilities, good wave clear capability. Not the best, but definitely a strong start to the draft for Meowpork.
That's right, and not to mention all the utility that Tacita can lend in the team fights or just controlling the map itself. I mean, Oracle build. Oracle as a ability can basically review enemy teams, especially when they're turning in the gems in this map. And of course, with although the recent changes in Tacita, really want to see how teams can start to capitalize on him a bit more, seeing that the duration of the shields actually went down. Oh, and here we go. We actually have a Lili here. And that was a pretty early pick, so interestingly enough, most Lili plays yesterday. Well, actually one of the last few picks here. You want to go for the last or the second last pick, but instantly they just locked in second support Lili. You're making a face here, JL.
I don't mind the picks. I mind the prioritization of when they made the picks. Sonya, I'm okay in the early rotation before second ban.
But Lili first pick?
Sonya does well in team fighting. She can really create a lot of issues, especially if you can get that whirlwind going and some AoE abilities. I don't know. You just set yourself up to be countered really hard here. You know, you've got Lili, you've got Malfurion, so now you're lacking a little bit in damage. Sonya is going to supplement that a little, which means whoever your last damage dealer is going to be, it's going to have to be some type of range hero, which can really put the pop into what you're trying to do. Tychus, I'm actually surprised we're seeing a Tychus ban. One hero that I think could potentially be there might be something like a Kael'thas. Great wave clear, good combo potential if you're trying to set up something to blow somebody up. It's possible Li Ming seems like a safer option.
That's right.
We also have, so the hero that I want to say, Crusade. Okay, yesterday he played Vala. He played a little bit of Raynor. He also played Zerat, or actually, I think he might have been on the Falstad. But he is a hero that you can look out for. They might just opt to go with a ranged auto attack hero on that backside to fit his role.
That's right. Well, adding to your point, Crusade on the side of Inquisition, very well known on his DPS, basically plays a lot of Vala, Tigers, Falstad in his drafts. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Jehao. And so now's the question of what to ban. Tigers has already been banned here. And so it looks like with Lily, especially with the Blinding Winds build, this is after all on the live server. The blinds have been improved on the side of Lily, so they might not want to go on the auto attack build, continuing on the auto attack build on the side of Meowpork.
All right, they go the Chromie ban, and not wanting to deal with the zoning and poke control.
Okay.
From Chromie, who we've seen used to great extent on this battleground by some of our European teams.
That's right. So definitely Chromie is banned as well. I mean, seeing that it can basically stop Sonya in his tracks sometimes, especially with the amount of control that it can have on the point, especially when you're turning in the gems. You wouldn't want Sandblasts coming into your face, for example. So far, really interesting bans and picks here.
You know, we saw the Johanna hover, and I wonder if Meowpork is now thinking they might want to go with that. You know, it'll add a little bit of blinds to themselves. But since you already have Greymane and Tassadar, you need to look at some type of other damage, because you're going to have blinds from Lily. You're going to have all kinds of stuff to deal with. So you need to look at maybe some potentially ability damage heroes that will go in there. Kel'Thas being picked up. I love that pickup. Ariel going to benefit a lot, either from Greymane or Kel'Thas. You have great blow-up potential. I really wonder who their warrior is going to be. Arthas is still available. I actually would not mind an ETC pickup. You can use Tassadar in the solo lane early game, keep Greymane and Kel'Thas, look for some early game picks. You don't have burst healing between Lily and Malfurion. So if you can get a power slide into Greymane, into Kel'Thas, you can actually get some early game kills.
That's right, you're absolutely right. And this is a chance also on the side of Inquisition to sort of ban the warriors that might be potentially picked on the side of Meowpork. I mean, they have two out, and I'll be really surprised if they're just going to rely on Sonya as a single warrior. So likely there'll be a main tank on the side of Inquisition. What do you think of an Anoop pickup right now? I mean, seeing that we agree that this is a team going for ability power?
Anubarak fits several roles, and I actually like the suggestion that you made there. He has the good ability armor, the spell armor. It does well against Kel'Thas. They're going to go in Johanna. That gives you good wave clear. It gives you good control. Lunara, a little bit surprising. Lunara actually does okay against Ariel, but not necessarily against a triple backline Ariel, which is basically what you have with a Greymane, Tassadar, Kel'Thas, Ariel. I would have liked to have seen Anubarak. Anubarak still gives you the potential to sustain longer in fights than some of the other warriors. Like Anubarak, you're pretty much all in. You can't necessarily survive as much. But when you have somebody like Anubarak, you still have initiation, plus you still have good defense to where you can survive there. So you kind of would have doubled up there. Murden, being the lone warrior on the front line for Meowpork, is going to just be harassed for days by Lunara. This is going to be interesting.
That's right. I mean, Muradin on the front line to try to defend against sort of the squishies, Kel'Thas and Greymane relatively in the back line. You have to basically protect them as much as possible. I can see this happening on the side of Meowpork. I mean, you have Oriel, you have Tassadar that can basically keep anyone alive for days, and you're also dealing with a Muradin there, so that's going to be a really good draft on the side of Meowpork.
Yeah, again, the Lily pickup is going to be the surprise pick. Going into Sonya, it's a warrior role that tends to play a little bit more damage-oriented. Lily plays the support role, tends to go a little bit more damage-oriented. So what you lack there is a lot of burst damage. Now, Ariel will be able to keep up a little bit. Tassadar will supplement quite a bit. When you talk about spreading these out, again, shield's on an 8-second cooldown. If you go Lily, you're hitting multiple targets with the blind, so you can spread out some of that damage. It acts as basically AoE ability damage. But Lunara, you're lacking severe burst damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a leaping strike come out from Lunara. It gives her a little bit mobility if Greymane dives in. Plus, it can give you that burst potential damage that you'll be looking for post-10.
That's right. So it looks like one of the main way that Meowpork can actually go about this is actually to get rid of their main damage dealer, and that is Lunara. I mean, Lunara basically a very strong backliner there. It can deal a lot of damage, especially to heroes like Muradin in the front line. So do you think that as long as Meowpork can take out Lunara, that could be that could keep Inquisition in check.
It's just gonna be difficult to do. The minute you dive in, you run into this. So with Kael'thas, he's actually going Convection, a little bit surprising. We do see the staggered delay on the minion waves on the side of Meowpork. They recognize they don't want to hard engage into it. It gives you a little bit of map control by allowing the minions to make their way further away. But we do see Regen Master for Johanna. We're going to see a strong 4-man rotation. The problem is that Sonya as your solo laner, your wave clear early game, Lunara doesn't provide a ton. Nowhere near what Kael'thas does. So you'll see the Condemn. Luckily, Moonburn was picked up by Malfurion, but you can see they will struggle heavily to clear compared to what their opponent will be in Meowpork.
So okay, that's a very fair point. I mean, with Kael'thas on the side of Meowpork, it can basically clear the waves for days and can speed up the gem collection process. And now we see actually another rotation going into the middle lane. We've seen the lanes already sort of being split up, and we see the Kaza once again very offensive front against the 3-man team in the middle lane on the side of Inquisition. Still no casualties there, so going around soaking the lanes. 3-man rotation now at the top, going against Sedia.
Kael'thas, Psystorm. Now, by having Greymane in the bottom, you lack kill potential. So your early game kill potential is non-existent. So if Inquisition wanted to be a little bit aggressive, I think this would be the opportunity that they can make it happen. They're not necessarily lighting it up with the numbers either, but instead of just getting out-rotated on, you have to try and disrupt. Johanna is one of the heroes that can do that. You see the rotation through the middle there? You can use Johanna as the anchor, basically disrupt this massive rotation and make sure you're not being staggered on minion waves and losing some of that crucial ammo on the towers.
Alright, so now they are rotating again to the middle lane. So basically we're just seeing rotation, trying to catch any of the Inquisition members off guard. Lily and Sonya now in the bottom lane. Off laner on the side of Meowpork will be the Greymane. They will be able to catch Reminiscence though, but still won't be able to go down even though he's on the Living Bomb. So still, holding that front is Inquisition.
This is, Teddy, when you get to the point where you're like, all right, I see what you're doing, I see what I'm doing, and we're both content with just rotating. Meowpork's just doing it a little bit quicker, but what does it net you? Experience dead even, you've gained a little bit of ammo, and long-term that can help if you get the Web Weavers turned in. But questing talent for Kael'thas, you go Convection, you only have 3 stacks so far, you're not exactly lighting it up. Regen Master for Johanna is kind of a big deal if you can keep her in the rotations, but
no, I mean, still a lot to be played, and still a lot more to actually see. Right now we see Meowpork now turning into gems at the top lane, 23 against 17. Where both teams are actually starting pretty slow here. Once again, another rotation from the top lane to the bottom lane. They are desperately, okay, no, I won't say desperately, but they are still looking for the kills there. Still rotating, soaking the lanes, 4-man laning there. But it seems like in terms of EXP, both teams are still pretty constant here.
The problem is that Johanna is the only person that can really try and disrupt the rotation. But Johanna is also pretty much your best wave clear. And it makes it tough. The entire thing doesn't work without Johanna getting the Condemn, and then the Moonfire, and then Lunara adding a bit of damage. It's just, well, Inquisition's draft is very interesting.
Yeah, something to look forward to. I mean, anything can happen in the Southeast Asia region. But finally, will they be able to catch Lunara? But not quite. Gravity Lapse doesn't quite take him out. He's going in for the Cursor now. So this is exactly what you mentioned, Jay, how the amount of damage that Crusade can land on the Cursor.
There's no threat. You walk in on him and you continue to poke him down. You disrupt their rotations. You are doing nothing to disrupt the rotations of Meowpork, who, yeah, they're outlaning you in the sense that they're doing it fast enough that now you're running out of ammo. You have no ammo on your towers and you've done nothing to defend it. You're just letting it happen, and you cannot be passive against a team that has a Kael'thas, and that's significant. Crusade finally going in. You can see a little bit of damage onto Zessen. They haven't tried to rotate bottom to disrupt Greymane. They've basically been dominated in all facets of the laning phase so far.
So that's really good job on the side of Meowpork. So I mean, now Inquisition needs definitely a step up now to try to look for a way to disrupt the rotation, like you mentioned. But here he comes. Johanna going straight into the middle there with a Condemn, going straight for Peter Xiao. Will have to back off. Going though into Meowpork's territory, backs out again, and it seems like they're still here just trading blows.
Yeah, and right now you just don't want to give up free stacks to Kael'thas, which you're basically doing. Kael'thas is more than content. Finally, Crusade, you can see Dekurza health bar on the left. Finally, Lunara is just like, I've had enough of this. I can be aggressive, and you're not doing anything to punish me because you don't have the capability. And on the backside, a sneak in for Inquisition, I think that is a big plus for them right now to try and relieve some of the pressure of these waves.
That's right. So really good zoning ability of the entire team of Inquisition, moving everyone back. They needed that breathing space to actually turning the gems. And here we go. Johanna in a lot of trouble right now and still moving back. They are not committing in the fight, playing very defensively here. And now with the Web Weavers, they can finally get some breathing space. Do you think they'll do this offensively or just basically not commit too much?
I definitely think they can be a little bit more aggressive. With Kael'thas, you're able to clear quite a bit. Greymane as well. So that top lane just going down pretty significantly. I'm actually surprised they're going up there. This is one of those things where you try and maximize what little you're going to get. You're going to get a fort wall in the middle. You're going to get a little bit of damage elsewhere, but it's nowhere near, I think, what you would see with other compositions. Again, Lunara poke damage, Sonya engaging post 10 is really where they're going to pick up and spike.
That's right. So the Web Weavers are going to fall really quickly here. Oh wow, Kevin just initiating against Zes and coming in with the shield glare there. But Zes and will be remaining behind the fort. And here comes the Kaza going in for the Dwarf Toss, going straight for Kevin as well. But Reminiscence basically just standing there showing that you're not coming through. I'm here to control this entire fight. And Meowpork just as quickly as they went in, they backed out now.
I mean, there's not a lot of great options for Lili at level 7, but double cleanse against the Kael'thas Murden, where John already has basically a self-cleanse, you know, preemptive self-cleanse.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's really heavy. I mean, you better make sure that you are fully communicating as Zessen securing the first Web Weavers for them. This is a team that post 10 for them, Phoenix can help zone it out, and if you do get this early push, you can start to really open up the map. But again, level 10 very close for Inquisition.
It's going to be hard.
I think we're going to get out of the boring phase and get into the little bit more exciting phase.
That's right. So the laning phase, oh, you're absolutely right. Laning phase might be over once level 10 hits. A lot of heroic abilities, giving rise to a lot more flexible plays. And here he comes. They're just trying the best to defend against the middle lane right now. Tassada at the top lane, just basically now rotating into the middle lane right now, and still just trading blows, no kills, and First Blood hasn't even been drawn yet. Really, really interesting.
I do like the fact that we're seeing Leap. The problem is with Leap, we talked about the possibility of a Nubarak. If you would have gone a Nubarak Sonya and picked up a Nubarak as your last pick, you now have an excellent dive composition against Kael'thas, who opted to go Convection, not the Mana Addict, which gives him shields. And so you're going to have to rely on great synergy between Ariel and Tassadar to keep that backline alive, but who's going to be your dive buddy?
That's right. So once again, Web Weavers are going down, but still, Meowpork has the amount of gems that can summon the next Web Weavers coming in. They are going to force a fight here. Kevin goes straight for Dakaza inside, but will be caught by the Gravity Lamps. Phoenix comes down as well. Reminiscence is there trying to stop the aggression coming out from the side of Meowpork, but Meowpork knows that they're going in right now. Going in, Dakaza is just basically zoning Reminiscence away. He won't be able to escape there. Johanna actually going down.
Yeah, and that was just an aggressive team comp. The minute you pop Sonya, there's nothing left. We talked about double cleanses. I don't know. Sonya just got caught out of position, and there was absolutely no way to keep her alive. No burst healing with Lili, no burst healing with Malfurion. And when you have Greymane and Kael'thas, look to be popped.
That's right. So this looks like a good skirmish win on the side of Meowpork. They will be able to go for the Web Weavers here to continue on for the push. So they are actually going, this push will be a bit interesting. I mean, you could go a bit more offensive here, but the question is which lane will you go offensive on? They'll be going on to the top lane, the one that has the least resistance. While on the side of Inquisition, they're actually defending the middle and the bottom lane.
Yeah, you know, there's a certain point to where you basically clear, you get the Web Weavers down to a certain point, and then you hearth back. Then when you're late, you're going to give up a keep wall, and that's what happens when you're late to hearth. You're late to rotate back. The thing about the top lane, yes, it was the path of least resistance, but it's also the path to the easiest win, and that is the boss up at the top. You win a late game team fight, you take out 2 members, you get a boss, you push directly into the top lane. So instead of cutting their losses, giving up a little bit of fort damage, they've now given up a significant amount of keep damage in the form of the keep wall. They're going to give up a little bit of keep health, but that's an avenue that you leave open later, and that was way too easy for a Meowpork to do. Inquisition got to tighten it up just a little bit. They're not out of it. They still have plenty of gems themselves for a turn in soon, but opportunity is going to be slim. 13 really close here for Meowpork.
That's right. It's going to be one talent lead on the side of Meowpork. So now Meowpork is in a very good position, but Dakaza will be caught by the Condemn. but no commitment there. They are just playing it really safe. They back out immediately when they saw the cavalry coming in on the side of Meowpork. And now once again, going into the middle lane, but Inquisition now has left Lily at the bottom lane to soak, while Crusade actually turns in the gems.
All right, quick updates on the questing talents. 14 out of 15 for Greymane on his cocktail at level 7. Look for that to increase a lot of damage with one more hit there. 17 of 20 stacks on the Flame Strike for Convection. So once those two are completed, look for even more burst damage to come out from these heroes.
So do you think that Meowpork is actually just going for the late game? I mean, they're going straight for the stacks here. Looks like they're going for the late game. What do you think?
I think they can do whatever they want right now. I mean, there just hasn't been a whole lot to push them back. I mean, we've got 2 kills to 0, and with Lily and Sonya, you just don't have that scary moment. I mean, speaking of scary, the Water Dragon's going on to Muradin.
That's right.
I don't understand it.
He's just confused with the plays that we are making today.
I feel bad. I'm calling Seti out again. I feel bad, man, but you don't Water Dragon a frontline Muradin with no follow-up.
But nonetheless, it seemed like this proved to be a pretty okay distraction. They managed to turn in the gems on the side of Inquisition. The Web Weavers will be coming down. They're going into the middle lane again, and still basically trading blows. It's so far been 2 kills to 0 here.
Well, they did get a turn in. They can start to defend a little bit. They waited for 13. I like the patience on Inquisition. It shows that they understood that they couldn't quite be as aggressive. They forced a little bit of action, got a sneaky turn in. We're going to see if they can actually do anything with it. As you can see, the Phoenix is going to zone this out. They'll be able to clear. At least one fort should fall in one of these lanes, as the middle lane is being defensed pretty easily right now.
That's right. So seeing that their Web Weavers in the middle lane has been felled, they went straight to the bottom lane, rotating down. And here we go, Kevin going straight against the fort right now, while Meowpork basically rotated to the top lane to actually defend against the Web Weavers at the top. So you're absolutely right, Jay, how they managed to get the fort. This puts them a bit more... This sort of eases the tension between the EXP gap. They have been facing a bit of an EXP problem, but now finally they are roughly on the same plane.
Oh, Reminiscence gonna find Ariel there, but he's gonna find a lot more here in a moment. The leap goes in! Crystal Aegis onto Ariel herself, and on that backside, the blinds the Water Dragon. The Twilight Dream is taking down Ariel.
All right, and here we go. Here, still, Johanna is in the middle of it all, though, and nonetheless, they're still going in. The Kaza now has basically zoned out the entire 4-man Inquisition team. It will be able to stop the assault just for now.
Both supports were taken out until you realize that Lily also plays a support role. Kevin staying alive, but the Phoenix coming in as well as Dekurza on that backside. Greymane hitting with the cocktail. They're continuing to push into it, but Crusade getting the slows, and Greymane going in. The heals are keeping him alive, but Reminiscence is going to fall. That is a lot of gems left down. Zessen, watch for the cocktail. Ooh.
Oh, that was insane. The counter-attack coming on the side of Meowpork was incredible. They just leaped straight back into the fray, even though they sort of lost a few team members there.
This is the Meowpork that I wanted to see earlier in the day. Zero hesitation. The minute they got those kills, they recognized they can get a siege camp, get a turn in. They have enough gems to double up on this. They have enough time to do that. They regain map control. They clear the waves. They get a hearth. Actually, they're not going to turn in right away. But it shows that they recognize they have opportunities, but they're making them happen right now.
That's right. So we did talk about this. The hesitation, you wouldn't want that, especially in this level of competitive play. When you see an advantage, you see something that puts you in the front of an enemy team, you want to capitalize on that. And you're absolutely right. They did exactly what they did. They got the siege camp, and while they're defending the siege camp, as you see right now, they just go straight into turn in the gems. They turn in the gems. Here comes the blue Web Weavers here.
I like the fact that they just committed to that. Convection stacks have finished, so has Tassadar's level 1 on his Psystorm. So a lot of questing talents have finished. The only one not completed, Regen Master for Johanna, only 18 stacks. Still got a ways to go there. But with these lanes pushed up, Seti getting caught out. This goes from we might lose a keep to we're going to lose a keep, and let's hope we don't lose more.
All right. So that was an incredible pick off on the side of Meowpork there to take the Lily out. 30 seconds left on the death timer. So you have, this could be a good chance for at least a keep right now. So they're going in, they're pushing in right now. Here comes the Phoenix to try to zone everyone on Inquisition away. Crusade looking in for a few poke damage now. Pizza Xiao coming in, just basically throwing Crusade off. They managed to get the top keep right now.
Yeah, you know, I almost feel like Meowpork could have been a little bit more aggressive. Look for a pick. They don't have Lily there. And honestly, they don't have a lot of damage in return. They play the safe game. They're going to play the long game. You know, we'll have to check the gems when they come back. But if you don't have a turn-in for a while, there's a window of opportunity that Inquisition will be able to play on. Sometimes you want to be a little bit aggressive, but a little bit more passive at the same time. Instead, they do open up the top lane. So one win in a team fight like they had just a moment ago means a boss and a win. So they're playing a little bit passive right now.
Oh my, Pizza Xiao almost getting caught out there. But basically was able to stop the assault before it even happened. But here it comes, Dekaza caught out right out in the middle, was caught by the entangling roots there, put in the Crystal Aegis. He will be able to survive right now. And now Inquisition, knowing that they are a bit outgunned here, we have to move back into their base right now, and they are knocking onto the gate.
Yeah, just getting these towers down just means more experience. Sedia, the cleanse used onto Sedia from Malfurion. So they're going to get the wall, walk away. They have a 2-level lead. They're only 24 gems away from another turn-in, so they can play passively, soak a little bit. Dekurza and his Murd. I'll just jump right over this wall, no big deal. That's
right. Really good plays on the side of Meowpork, taking it very passive there. So this is what we sort of saw in the game against Resurgence just now. They basically chose their fights very, very well. If there's no need for a team fight, there is no need for a team fight. No need to do anything about that. And then instantly you see Meowpork rotates down into the siege camp, trying to take the siege giants there. And on the side of Inquisition, however, they're still rotating. They're sort of moving around the top and middle lanes here, try to defend against their lanes.
I mean, right now, Meowpork, they just passively push in lanes. I mean, there's absolutely nothing right now. Their Inquisition lost so many gems during the last fight. They are 31 short. And for Meowpork, they are only 15 short. So Meowpork could just casually play this game, get 20, get a Web Weaver turn in, and potentially look to end. So it's up to Inquisition. They need to make something happen. They're going to have to clear this and look for a fight if they want to start to get back into this game.
That's right. I mean, if you delay any longer, they're going to hit level 20, and it's going to be so much more difficult to actually win those team fights. So you're absolutely right. They have to look for a fight right now, and it seems like they know they are roughly around there. But Meowpork, knowing that there's no need for a fight at all, they just back off almost immediately here.
Meowpork looking far better in this game than they did in their set against Resurgence earlier.
That's right.
I'm really impressed. Their lack of passive calls that they had earlier, the fact that they are understanding that they are in complete control of this game, and their Inquisition is chasing them. They are chasing a ghost. When you chase Tassadar there, he's just like, look, I've got a dimensional shift. If anything goes bad, I'll just go out of here. So right now, if you're Inquisition, you're too late to force a boss fight. You're almost too late to force a fight. So now you're just going to sit on hope that you can clear enough and defend against Web Weavers, which is a little bit far-fetched.
That's right. Given that level 20 is coming, that's going to be hard. All right, they finally find the fight they are forcing for. Will they be able to do it so? But Crystal Aegis goes onto Malfurion to keep him alive just for a little bit longer. Water Dragon goes onto Dekaza as well. And then they're moving in. The Phoenix has been popped as well. Reminiscence is 1 against 3. Malfurion is unfortunately taken down on the side of Inquisition though. And here he comes. Malfurion going straight in for Sedia. 3 of Inquisition's heroes are going for Muradin as well. But when you do everything onto Muradin but unable to take him out, that is going to be disaster. And as we can see, 2 of Inquisition's heroes have been taken out. The rest is on a retreat there.
This is just a little bit of confusion on Inquisition on exactly who they wanted to go. You know, they had a really good start, but take a look at the core, Teddy.
Wow.
There's some catapults hitting that as the core health going down. This should be a pretty easy boss pickup. You've already taken the shields off. They might regen just for a moment. And it's GG basically at this point.
Yep, it's really good. It's going to be really hard for Inquisition to come back. Like we mentioned, the team fight that they looked for, they got it, but they didn't actually win it. So that was the huge problem there. So they will be waiting on the boss though. They're just waiting on the boss.
It's just like, oh, they're going to try and double up turn it. I don't even think that's necessary at this point. I mean, they have such great zoning control. They want to make sure and get enough gems to turn in and just put their stamp on it. I don't know. It's like you're sitting around, you're waiting for the bus, and it's coming soon.
Yep.
I'll hop
Wait
on
for it.
time.
Wait for it. And here we go.
They just, I mean, it's about 15 seconds too late. They're just making sure to regroup, but
they're going to turn in.
The turn in. This is surprisingly late. That is actually not good.
It's not good.
Inquisition is clearing the boss with 0 resistance. Watch this. Boss will be dead before it ever reaches the core, or right as it reaches the core. Shields will sustain.
Oh my. You're absolutely right. And okay, the boss can get a few fights. Meowpork knew this. They just instantly went in for the fight here. Phoenix come in to go against the core right now. Crystal Aegis has been popped as well with the entangling roots there. Leaping Strike. Heltas actually gets taken down right now.
I mean, you can't ignore the boss. The boss is actually going to end the game.
They have to go for the boss.
You clear the boss and then you fight. That.
You're just looking very confused right now.
I mean, Meowpork's like, look, we better get the turn in. We're going to do it the farthest possible way. We're going to make sure that you can kill the boss before it ever does any damage to the core. Then Inquisition's like, you know what? We're going to do a little bit of damage to the boss, but we'll let it in the core anyways. It's like, well, a few misplays there. I mean, Meowpork definitely looked like a lot better team than what I saw earlier today. I mean, they definitely made better decisions throughout the game. That last one, a little bit questionable. At that point, you kill 3 people, you get the boss, the keeps or the core's already at 60-70% health. You just walk up and end the game. You already have such great control. We saw what Phoenix did there at the end with the boss. Just do that anyways.
Yep,
just
basically.
my pen apparently.
It's okay. Anyway, congratulations to Meowpork for taking the first game. Best out of 3 series. We'll be waiting for the next match really shortly here. So what do you think? Okay, I mean, I agree with you. Meowpork played really well. Basically, I was just as impressed as you, if not more, that they can basically choose their fights. Their shot calling was really on point. They knew exactly the battles to go for. They knew exactly when the battle was being put on them. But basically, there was a battle forced on the side of Inquisition onto Meowpork. They responded beautifully. Take out 3 of the enemy team heroes here.
If you're Inquisition in that last fight, it almost worked out for him because we got the leap over onto Ariel. You have to force that fight earlier. You don't force it by chasing a Tassadar, first of all. Or your only other option there is to force a boss fight. You force a throw pit, and that's your choices are very limited at that point. You basically have to force a fight. You're down a level and a half, 2 levels. They're almost 20. They're almost having another turn in. You don't have either of those anywhere near. So you have to force the action. They didn't do a great job forcing the action. We saw a little bit of clumsiness as Sonya went in. Sonya went in deep quite a bit with Leap without a whole lot of follow-up. And that's what happens when you draft a Mouth Lily. Now, Lily worked out great in certain comps yesterday.
That's
but
right.
Not in this. And the Lunara pickup means you had no real burst damage. We actually saw Leaping Strike confirm a kill there at the very end, but that was too little too late. They just lacked a lot of team fighting potential. They lacked wave clear. 2 of the biggest things that you need to win the game on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you lacked in. And so on other maps, this might have a little bit more success, but we saw the early game rotations of Kael'thas and anybody at that point. They basically controlled it. They cleared the ammo. The minute the Web Weavers came out, they got a much better push out of their Web Weavers because they didn't have the ammo and return damage. And Meowpork, I think, won this in the draft pretty easily.
That's right. I mean, definitely a very powerful draft on the side of Meowpork. I mean, the amount of control that they had on the map since the early game all the way to the late game was pretty amazing actually. Until the last boss with the Web Weavers push, but other than that, it was flawless control on the side of Meowpork.
They did really well on the draft for themselves.
That's right.
And it wasn't even Tassadar this time, I don't think. I don't think it was Tassadar. I think it was just excellent gameplay. Kael'thas does really well on that map, and they rotated well. They played the map well, and some people will look. I mean, I don't think we had a kill until post level 10.
That's right. Yeah.
And people are always like, oh, boring game. But I mean, if you're a real fan of Heroes of the Storm, you know that they just played a really good game. I mean, they kind of outclassed their opponent, but they just played a really good game. The minute they had the lead, they're just like, we just walk around the map, wait for 20, we're fine. I mean, they didn't quite make it. They came a little short at 20. They got 20 in the fight, but that's what happens. You force your opponent to respond to you, not the other way around. I thought Meowpork played a really good game.
That's right. I mean, it's not always about looking for fights. I mean, we've seen, Babel has mentioned this before. In Southeast Asia, what we did was we look for fights, we might feed, but it's okay, they'll feed back. Babel mentioned this before. But I guess on that note, that was a pretty good game. Meowpork has demonstrated how patience is a virtue here. And interestingly enough, that's exactly the same thing I said about Inquisition on the first day, the first weekend. On Saturday, when you weren't here yet, basically Inquisition was the one who played the patient game. Everybody that they went against, they were the one who chose the team fight. They were the one who pushed in the bottom lane. They secured an advantage for themselves, and then they just hang back. They knew exactly they didn't have to fight. They didn't have to fight there. So that was interesting.
If you know how to play that side, you should know what counters it.
Well, fair enough.
Look, we want to play the patient game. We don't want to take a fight. So if somebody's playing the patient game against you, you say, we got to do something. And there's 2 options. You walk directly into their side. You try and force a fight. You find one rotation that they're playing off, because you can eventually push the lanes up so far into the Spider Queen to where they have to respond. You can't just push all the way in. So they have to step out, or you go to the boss.
That's right.
So those are your 2 best options in the one wasn't quite ideal for what they were trying to do.
Okay, so basically Heroes 101, what to do when the team is playing patiently against you.
Fight them.
Fight them, that's
But
right.
what if they walk away? Well, they didn't have false stats, so you're fine.
Oh, fair enough. A lot of maybe execution heavy heroes might have been better on the side of Inquisition. I mean, if there's on that note, I mean, if you false stat on your team, do you think with like Mighty Gus, would you be able to basically force a fight easier that way? Or
You could go somebody other than Lily.
okay, that's
You could
for
go
starters.
another damage dealer other than Lunara. Like Lunara, people like Lunara several months ago at level 7 had really good wave clear, and then Lunara is basically forced at level 10 to go Leaping Strike. You can't go into Thornwood Vines at this point because you got to have some type of burst damage. You got to have some type of single target damage. Else it'll just be healed up by Ariel. So you run into this thing of, well, we drafted really bad. How do we play this? And it might not look like a bad draft at first, but saying that Lunara is a good wave clear, Johanna in this draft is your single best wave clear. Sonya's okay. Lily, Malf, they can contribute a little bit. Lunara, but nobody is matching up with what you were facing. And so, draft-wise, I want to see Inquisition come out. You know, I've got their whole page of notes and drafts here from yesterday's games, and we watched the games that were played off stream last night. They won those games, and they won them for a reason.
Yep.
They played better, they drafted better, and I think that they'll come back much better in game number 2.
That's right. Okay, so we do agree that, okay, firstly, the Lily draft, Lily draft is fine, but I guess what we both agree on was that it was a bit too early into the drafting phase, because in the first few heroes that you pick, you wouldn't want to pick something so outlandish. You want to go for the safer picks.
I'm pretty sure you can pick Lily in the second half of the draft and feel pretty comfortable about it.
All right.
I mean, even Babel would agree to that.
Yeah, I mean, Babel definitely would support Lily for sure. I mean,
like he's actually holding up a sign saying Lily best hero SEA.
got it, Babel.
That's how our studio goes.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, I mean, for those who are not aware, of course, Lily has a few changes. I did mention this before the game. Basically, you have a bit of improvement on the blinding wind mechanics, increasing the amount of damage and as well the cooldown.
Yeah, 10 to 8 seconds. It's surprisingly sneaky damage. Again, it comes up. You know, I started talking about this last year. It's like last April, you know, before the Nazebo change. It's like, well, I got a lot of damage as Nazebo, and you're like, was it really effective? Like, and that's when, you know, the effective damage really started to come into play. It's like you're getting damage, the numbers look good. Same for Sylvanas. You go Lost Soul at level 4, you just spread your Shadow Dagger over and over and over against melee teams. But are you actually doing anything with it? And you can go Lily, and the damage might look okay, but if your team's not there to follow up on it, or you don't have something else there, you can get damage for days. But if you're not confirming kills, is it really effective?
Well, okay, speaking of Lily's damage, like most of the Lilies, like right now, they actually go for the Water Dragon build. I mean, we've seen off stream as well. Most Lilies that were played, they actually went for Water Dragon. And you did mention that she actually Water Dragon Muradin in the game just now. So what do you think would be a good target to actually Water Dragon, and how do you execute it properly?
Well, you have to fully commit. Again, they just lacked up follow-up. So Water Dragon isn't necessarily there for the damage so much as you're isolating a target. You're creating a primary target. You are putting a mark on their head, not a Tyrande mark where you're amplifying damage, but you're putting a mark on somebody's head saying, this is who we need to focus on, or this is somebody that we need to isolate away from the fight. Instead, you're doing it on a Muradin who's on the front line when his team's way away, and you're going against he just popped Avatar. Your team's not following up on that. Why would you follow up on that on a Muradin? So now you've just blown a cooldown. Although, surprisingly, in the bottom lane, Meowpork's pushing in, and they Water Dragon a Muradin again and put out like 30% of his health, and then they Crystal Aegis him. So force out an Aegis.
It's okay. J-Hal still thinks you're a good player, Sedia.
I do think he's a fine player. I think it's more team decisions and team fighting that they need to work on a little bit.
All right. So hopefully they will be able to go into the next game with knowing how Meowpork actually plays. Meowpork definitely a team that played really, really well in the previous game. They are still looking for a good server to actually play against the second map. I believe
Sky Temple.
Sky Temple, correct.
We're ready, man.
We're ready.
No, they're ready.
I'm
ready.
We're ready.
Cue
right.
the music. Cue the map.
All right, JPay in the house.
Let's do this.
All right. First ban going to Meowpork's side. Meowpork taking a 1-0 lead against Inquisition here. If Meowpork wins this next game, they will be going on to face Resurgence. Another match to look forward to, because after all, this is a lower bracket. And the winner of the lower bracket will face Conbox C for the final place.
You know, we saw definitely different priorities in terms of bans on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I imagine we'll see priority possibly towards Tassadar if you're on the side of Inquisition, but definitely a priority in bans when it comes to globals. We've seen what the globals do on bigger battlegrounds. Falstad and Dahaka definitely key heroes to look out for. I think that one of these teams, I wouldn't be surprised if Meowpork, if they want to just play the global game, play the map control game that they just did, ban out one of the globals, pick up the other one that you feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, that is definitely what most teams have been playing so far. Ban the Falstad or the Dahaka, leave the Tassadar ban to the other team, and in this case, Inquisition there. Oh, but they don't do that. They don't do that actually.
They watched Crusade play yesterday.
That's right.
Crusade was a monster in the second game on Vala yesterday. So just take away what is probably your best player from Inquisition and take away one of his best heroes.
Right, and it seemed to work in the previous game. I mean, the first ban on the side of Meowpork was Vala as well. And they actually bite. They go straight for the Dahaka, global hero, very important in a map like Sky Temple here. So now the question is, will Inquisition respond with a Falstad pick? Because if they don't, there is a very good chance that Meowpork might be banning the Falstad in the next
Falstad Malfurion.
Falstad Malfurion.
It should be all but guaranteed at this point, I think.
Fair enough, fair enough. So Falstad Malfurion on the side of Inquisition, but they are still taking their time, still thinking it through. What can they go for here?
Falstad Malfurion.
They're still taking their time though.
They might be just discussing later parts of the draft. If they go anything different, it might be something like a Zeratul early. It's something they played yesterday. There's the Falstad. They might not be having the success that they want on Malfurion. They might actually try and go away from it, but I feel like it's pretty much a thing.
Well, we did see a lot of support roles playing. Oh, here we go. Falstad Malfurion. You're absolutely right.
I've seen them play before.
Fair enough.
Cheated.
Well, but nonetheless, very powerful heroes. Falstad and Malfurion, very powerful global, control the battlefield, and seeing that Meowpork has already locked in Dahaka, you wouldn't want to lose out in the global presence, especially a map like Sky Temple here.
Well, what Dahaka picked up, Meowpork, they played Sky Temple earlier, okay, and Gul'dan was an early pickup for them, and it's something that we've seen banned against them. I feel like Gul'dan might be a likely first rotation hero for them. We're not sure. You know, it seems like that's their MO, but Muradin also is pretty much heavily favored.
That's right.
Don't you think, Teddy?
I think so. What are you looking at? Greymane and Oreo there. Well, actually, on that note, actually, there is a lot of bans of Gul'dan actually against Inquisition, I believe.
Yeah, that was actually a hero that we saw Inquisition first pick on Infernal Shrines, which that's a map that tends to have higher priority on. But with Ariel Greymane, okay, you secure a really strong hero in Greymane that a lot of people have been really, really high on. So you have to imagine that you'll probably be picking up some type of mage damage after. The hover right now of Li Ming for Inquisition might show that they're going to ban out Li Ming and potentially be picking up Gul'dan himself, like you were talking about.
That's right. So they are going for Li Ming ban, as we have seen, and now we're going for the second ban on the side of Meowpork. So Gul'dan's still a very viable pick on the side of Inquisition. Now it'll be really interesting. The board is still very, very open on the side of both teams. Both teams still haven't locked in their main tanks. Both teams haven't locked in, hasn't really shown a very convincing strat. Not in the sense of convincing, but like they haven't shown their cards yet of what they are going to play. Still picking very neutral heroes here. Not easily countered here.
So we got the second ban coming up for Meowpork again. What is going to be the priority target for them?
Interesting. A lot of bans that can be that they can use here. Oh, they actually go for the Gul'dan ban. So knowing that Inquisition plays a really good Gul'dan there, they actually go for the Gul'dan ban, stopping them from actually, you know, increasing the backline damage during team fights.
All right, so Gul'dan and Li Ming off the board. Both these teams love playing backline mage damage, mixing it somewhere into their draft. So with Li Ming being banned, Gul'dan a priority target for both heroes. What is their fallback? There's the Zeratul that I talked about with Inquisition. They definitely like to look at that. So Zeratul picked up with ETC. You've got Falstad. This is something that they are definitely comfortable with. I just hope this is actually identical to their game 3 that was played off stream yesterday. They went Falstad Mouth, ETC, Zeratul. Do you know who their 5th pick was?
I forgot what's the 5th pick.
Take one guess.
Oh my.
Take one
You're
guess
killing
for
me
SEA.
SEA. Oh no. I
New
don't
meta.
remember. New meta. Lily.
Lily. They
Lily.
last picked Lily.
I see. I can't believe I didn't remember that.
You should already know that they're picking Lily.
All right. So, Lily banned. So that means that on the side of Meowpork, you might still want to go for someone who can go for the ability damage here. Would want to stop with the auto attack. But here comes Muradin and Tychus. This screams Lily, don't you think so?
I sure hope not. I sure hope not.
Muradin and Tychus, very powerful auto attack damage on the side of Meowpork. And of course, the Haka with a global lane presence here with Greymane potentially going for the cocktail build instead of the Worgen. After all, Curse Bullet has been improved here, increasing the amount of damage that it can potentially do here. Wow. Wonder if Inquisition is truly going for Lily. They actually played Lily for the last two games.
You got to have more follow-up damage. Falstad's not enough. Zeratul can only get you so much. You got to have some type of consistent follow-up damage. Falstad, again, will probably be going Season Marksman. I feel like they need to have maybe somebody either on the front line, although it's not kind of been what they do. Zeratul's going to be that role.
It's really
Lily. They're back on the Lily train.
They're back on the Lily train. They're creating a new meta here.
I mean, it could be the anti-meta if they don't land with it. Like, it's like, all right, this actually isn't very good.
Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see. After all, Meowpork has won the first game. If they don't do well in this game on Inquisition, they will actually be eliminated. So, looks like they are really confident in this meta. To be fair, there is a lot of AA damage coming on the side of Meowpork.
This is... Yesterday, we got off to the first series, and we had a little bit of technical issues. Game 3 ended up being played off stream later, okay? So, Falstad, Mouth, ETC, Zeratul, Lily is the exact same draft in the exact same order for Inquisition.
Oh, that's right.
They played against Dahaka Muradin and Greymane. So, we got 2 out of the 5 culprits from the last one. I don't know how well that's going to go. But Lily, nonetheless, they are riding the Lily hype train.
That's right.
And they're going to try and keep their tournament lives afloat.
Lily,
going on an adventure, man.
We're going on an adventure. Are you ready for an adventure here? Oh, Lily, here we go. So anyway, on the Blues team, we have Meowpork there, ZSN on the Dahaka, Dekuza on the Muradin here, Pizza Xiao on the Tigers, Meowpork on Oriole, of course. His support has been pretty good so far, and Xcarrick on the Greymane.
All right, Setia, all eyes are on you, man. You'd say my name, I'm saying yours. You're going to be on that Lily. That's the ultimate carry hero.
Ultimate carry hero for sure.
All right, but either way, we're going to see if Inquisition can take down Meowpork. Winner keeps going, loser goes home.
That's right, and we are not even bothering with the other team here. We're just looking at Setia right now. Camera's hovering there. And it looks like a very aggressive front on the top lane on the side of Meowpork here.
Yeah, they're going directly in. And when you have Greymane in a team like that, you can go in and get some early structure damage in. Normally we see kind of that rotation towards the bottom, but you normally keep your global hero in the bottom because that first temple phase is the top and middle.
That's right. So good plays on the side of Meowpork there. Rotating to the bottom lane is Crusade right now, going one-on-one against Zest, and the drag doesn't quite hit there, so back into the laning phase. However, on the sentry at the top lane, we see a fierce contest on the sentry point right now. Tigers and Lily in the middle lane trying to soak as well. So once again, we see a very passive playstyle. But here comes a flank on the side of Inquisition. But a very good stop on the side of Meowpork there. Just stopping the aggressive assault. They're still continuing their counter attack right now. Dekuza and Scarrick going for Reminiscence, but he will be able to survive.
They're going in. Again, not a lot of early game damage. Tychus was middle, and Lily, the biggest damage in the game, was also middle. So missing that blow-up potential, but it is going to be Temple's active
here in just a moment. There it is. It is now active. We're going to see who's gonna flinch first. Dahaka and Falstad, if you're just trading, you normally just leave them down there. But who's going to try and turn the tides? We're going to see Dahaka, Falstad, see who decides to go.
Well, if we are continuing with the current trend, they wouldn't want to contest against the Shrine if they played how they played in the previous game. So right now, we actually see that exactly. We see Muradin basically controlling the top tempo there. Meowpork and Xcarrick basically zoning anybody who dares to come close. Zeratul and Malfurion there coming close. But with Zeratul just going in, he has to blink out right now. And here we go on the middle tempo though. Reminiscence also holding the tempo very convincingly right there.
All right, a little bit of an early experience advantage in favor of Meowpork as they control that top lane, take out the middle fort, or top fort, excuse me. So we're going to see the rotations. This is generally the time where teams will either push. If you're the first there, and if you can really push the action, you grab the Siege Giants, you force a rotation to the bottom, and then if you have the proper defense, then you can rotate top. Again, the global heroes will start to work their way up the top of the map, but you try and prioritize either an early push bottom or an early push top, and it looks like Inquisition is going to go for that early push in that bottom lane. I want to see them, although they've already flown Falstad to the top, they're going to just try and double up with early pickups. I feel like you're losing your advantage on the bottom, and your advantage in the top isn't going to necessarily be there as well. Dahaka will slowly rotate. So generally you try and take the siege camp and just hard push, especially when you're that far ahead of your opponent. Instead, it's going to be evened up, and Meowpork should get the advantage in the bottom lane.
Well, Kevin almost getting picked off there. So right now it's like a game of chess. You want to put your pieces carefully, moving consistently, meticulously. You wouldn't want to have any bad moves right now. Both teams have managed to capture the siege camp there. They don't go for the bruiser camp and the top lane, and still in the lane, continuing to sow.
And here's the part. They have to send Lili back down. You know, the Siege Giant's not getting a ton of advantage. Neither team willing to hard commit to do any of that early structure damage on the bottom. Again, the reason you want to open up at least taking down a tower or two with those Siege Giants is because it opens up that temple to start to quickly take down the well there to give you that advantage in that team fight as you go on. Instead, both teams playing a little bit more passive, going to prioritize the top lane. I like the fact that they came off of this top camp.
That's right.
They're now going to pick it up, so you're basically going to play to a stalemate. Dahaka, Falstad, you're basically doing the exact same thing. Neither team getting the advantage I think that they had hoped for.
That's right. But here comes the interesting part where mixes things up a bit. The tempo is coming, and there's going to be only one tempo. If the team wants to get it, they have to force a team fight here. So it looks like the entire team is moving down. Dahaka and Falstad still in the top lane right now. Will they be going to the team fight? That will be the interesting question here.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you've got both of them up there, they're just, again, playing to a stalemate in the top, whichever one clears first. We're going to see who bites first. And whoever makes it down, as we see right now, Meowpork in control of the temple. The top lane is probably about as passive, all the action going on here, and Inquisition afraid to push in just yet.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Reminiscence there holding the front, but he doesn't commit. Here comes Kevin. Oh, Falstad is coming down, but he's not flying as of yet. And so here he goes into the bottom temple right now. The cards are really low there. Tiger's basically doing a lot of work. Kevin blinks in right now, trying to get everyone out, but doesn't quite. The clans will be able to stop him just a little bit there.
All right, the fight continues. Sedia in a bad spot. Going to try and hide in the bush momentarily. The heals are starting to come out. Murden taking a lot of damage as well. As Zeratul gets taken down, we're going to see Reminiscence. He's trying to confirm a kill, but a good detainment strike is going to lock Malfurion in. And that is 4 members down, and it's a 5-man team wipe.
Oh, wow, 5-man team wipe here. You did it well.
Babel 2.0.
That's right. With Hot 2.0 comes J-How, aka Babel 2.0. But nonetheless, very successful team engagement there on the side of Meowpork. They will be able to capture the shrine, and then not losing any of their momentum, they go straight for the boss. Level 10 on the side of Meowpork once again, just showing how powerful they are as a team. They chose the team fight, and they just committed it. They did lose out a bit, that it tilted a bit into Inquisition's favor, but nonetheless they held their front and was able to go for a team wipe there. So well done, capitalizing on the advantage. Boss going into the bottom lane.
I love the fact that there was, again, zero hesitation. Meowpork starting to come into their stride. They're making no hesitation to confirm some of these kills. Siege Giants going to be picked up here. They were very low on mana. They won quite a bit of that, so they had to go back Hearth, and they're going to fall down here. But without level 10, they're going to re-engage, and I like this call. The fact that they have Odin they'll be able to walk in here. They need to ignore the Siege Giants along the way, try and siege up with the boss and get a little bit of damage. Instead, I think they're going to play a little bit more passive. You could have gotten a little bit of Odin value there, but nonetheless, 2-level lead for Meowpork. Early game advantage heavily in their favor.
That's right, and looks like Inquisition still has a bit more to go to the level 10 heroic. So this puts Meowpork at such a favorable advantage right now. They are just barreling into the middle lane, taking down the gate. They will be able to take the towers out. And here he comes, Inquisition just arriving them to push out before they reach the fort.
This is another moment to where if you're playing this game, Meowpork has a 2-level lead. They play to 13. They see if it's a single temple phase, you basically can use your talent to your advantage to try and force a fight. If it's a double temple phase, you simply trade. So Meowpork in a commanding position right now in that bottom temple phase really, really put them in the lead.
That's right. I mean, you can see it in the team fights, basically so little, but nonetheless, 5 against 0 kills. Very little, but not. They are just have such a commanding position on the map. They're dominating this map. Anything that happens there, like right now, it's 2 temples. They can just basically trade, avoid the fight. But
they're trying to fight pre-13.
That's,
I like the flank here. Dahaka is top, and they do not have to fight. Zeratul going in. They have a wall to fall right back to, and just like that, you trade.
Wow.
You trade and you force your advantage elsewhere. You rotate mid, you rotate top, you clear waves, you keep your experience advantage, and you just continue to control the game. Inquisition going to have to wait a little bit longer for their opportunity.
I bet this is a very refreshing change for you. Instead of people just basically just going head-on into the fight.
Well, don't hold your breath because Dekurza is trying to body his way back in. Because they took the early advantage on the top, they could, I can't believe they're getting bullied off of 13.
Wow.
Void Prison has been used up above, though. We're going to see the Twilight Dream. Nice Crystal Legion, so it only hits 1. We're going to see that is going to be Tychus going down the zoning Mosh in the back as Zeratul able to get out alive, but Lili is not. They're continuing the pressure.
All right, and going straight for Jarvis. Jarvis will be taking down Crusade right now, being solo, but still, the entire of Mailbox Heroes going straight on his tail there. Kevin also really low, unable to help him there, and he's still going to retreat. They are still hungry for blood. Will be able to take Falstad down. Such a commanding lead on the side of Mailbox. Will go taking down 3 of Inquisition's heroes. They're still not done. They're going for the towers. They're knocking onto the doors of the keep now.
Again, another great call. Meowpork going in, they clear the tower, which means more temple value. And I got to point this out because this was the call yesterday. And again, I don't understand. Hinterland's Blast for Falstad.
No one just plays Mighty Gust.
they're looking for the VP Twilight Dream, Hinterland's Blast, Water Dragon combo. Yes, Water Dragon.
Yes, Water Dragon for sure. So, yeah, but wow, look at the commanding lead that Meowpork currently possesses. 3-level advantage there. Getting to level 16 really soon, they will be able to poke them up to a talent tier advantage. And that is going to be a huge power spike on the side of Meowpork. They're basically commanding the map right now. They have the top gates down, almost going to the keep right now.
You literally do nothing but play the temple game.
That's right.
I mean, you don't have Mighty Gust to force you into a fight. You can't fly and gust somebody into a fight.
But it looks like they'll be going for Kevin there. Going straight in. Xscarik just going straight in. But Kevin just gets out there just in the nick of time. Wow. Basically, Inquisition doesn't even have the room to run right now.
I mean, they find themselves down 3 levels, which is 1 talent tier here at 16 to 13. And their window of opportunity is slim.
That's right.
You now went from you're going to have to wait a little while for your opportunity to now your opportunity is actually just going to be a desperation move. Like, you can't do anything. You either have to find somebody out, which Meowpork's not going to let happen, or you are going to have to get desperate and fight a talent tier down. They're going to have to do that.
That's right. So, looks like they have to wait for someone to hit the panic button on the side of Meowpork, or looking for a misplay, potential misplay here, but here comes Kevin on the Dekurza there. They're going in, he's going straight for ETC there. ETC gets cans, goes away, and the VP comes out there. Everyone's going into the VP. And here he comes Kevin there, going straight for the Oriole there, but unfortunately, Malfiro will be taken down in the process there. Reminiscence is going for a 2-man mosh pit right now, but the rest of Meowpork doesn't care. He's going for the backline. Crusader, really low HP. Falstad will be taken down right now. Reminiscence is now on the retreat. Inquisition forcing the fight, but unfortunately wasn't able to finish the job. They have to go on the retreat right now.
Once again, zero hesitation, pushing directly onto the keep. Opening up the win condition now going forward. The boss is respawn.
It'd be a little bit gutsy, but right now, being up 17-13 and Falstad's still down for another 10 seconds, you could go for the boss, but you 100% do not have to.
That's
you are
right.
in such a commanding lead. There are 2 keeps remaining. You have all 3 forts still standing.
That's right. So they can go for the boss, but it seems like they won't be. Personally, I would think that it's easier to go for the temple right now because there are 2. So basically, even if they lose the temple phase, they can still rotate down to the bottom temple. Just playing the temple game, like you mentioned, Jhao. It looks like Inquisition believes that they were actually going for the boss.
Yeah, so right now, your best bet is to try and take one of these temples, try and figure out if Dahaka, although Zeratul showing bottom, which means Dahaka, because there's no CC to lock him down, he could just brush stalk her up and join the fight, or just 1v1 Zeratul, whichever.
Well, Crystal Aegis has been popped as well. The Water Dragon has been popped as well. Twilight Dream going off on the side of Inquisition there, but it's not enough to stop the assault of the side of Meowpork there. They're just going in, Kevin down in the flank right now. Where Fruit unfortunately has been taken down right now. Reminiscence is going straight for Zez and now basically being supported by Sedia, but Zeratul is actually being taken down as well.
It's a lot of dead members on Inquisition. They're going core. I mean, they should. Yeah, I was gonna say, Murden's like, guys, let's go in. They're like, nah, let's just back up. Dahaka, why don't you hop on the temple? We're gonna go ahead and hop on the boss here. Like, it's kind of counterintuitive to hop on to. So basically, what you want to do is you want to get the boss as fast as possible, push in while they're still recuperating, while you keep the rest of the pressure on the map. This just says you're playing for a much longer game. So now you give them the boss to deal with. So you go get the temple. If you were looking to end game, Dahaka should have been on that. I imagine they're just giving them something to deal with while they go get another temple and take another key.
That's right. So right now, still very, very powerful. They went for the team fight and was able to basically come out unscathed. No team members went down on the side of Meowpork there. So Inquisition, really a lot to actually deal with. So they have to look for anyone out of position and take him out. And that's not going to be Muradin. Muradin, basically they always see them initiate on the Muradin and almost always was never be able to take him out. Now 4-level advantage on the side of Meowpork. It's really going to be difficult for Inquisition to come back now. Boss is now knocking onto the core and they are holding onto the temple.
You know, in America, instead of saying difficult to come back from, we just say impossible.
Oh, I was giving them some hope.
There is 0 chance. I don't want to call a game over, but it's... Teddy, it's over. You literally do nothing if you're Meowpork. It would be the biggest throw in Heroes history if you were to throw a 4-level lead where you have all 6 structures up to 0.
Wow.
So again, one of the few options we talked about in Tomb of the Spider Queen, if you're Inquisition, if you don't die there in the middle, you basically force a boss fight it, but without the boss being available, you now have no possible way to dictate the terms of this battleground anymore. Meowpork, surprisingly, is just like, guys, we're bombing on him. It's just, let's walk in. We're going to take over. We are so good that we will force a fight.
Wow, and just going straight in. The VP is coming up, but the cursor just jumped straight in. But Zez and will be taken out with a trade as well. But basically, Dahaka was taken out too. And here comes the Odin one-man mosh pit on the side of Inquisition. Will be able to stop him, but Reminiscence just basically melted away by Odin there. Falsa gets taken out as well. But Sedia just basically trying to survive as a Lily, but will be taken out. Crystal Aegis has been popped.
It's a 5-man team wipe.
It's a 5-man team wipe.
Gosh dang it.
He said it just now, 5-man team wipe. Here comes Babel 2.0, man.
You don't even have to do that, but Meowpork's like, guys,
let's do it for fun.
14 kills to 1. Let's go in. Let's give him an extra kill. We're going to make it 19 kills to 2.
All right. Congratulations, Meowpork, for taking the 2nd point. And of course, moving on to fight against Resurgence in the next battle.
The thing is, so